Hey, what is up guys? It's Oliver3917 back with another video. So today I've got something, not really, it's pretty random, not, related to anything, but I was just looking through some of my video recordings and my files from a couple months ago, and I found this one, where I was playing some CSGO, and I found some guy who was just screaming a bunch of, religious stuff. I think that's what it was. I honestly don't really know what it is, but I think it's pretty funny. So, I just wanted to put some of that out there. Also, the dude's name is a link. You can see it in the bottom corner of his audio. So if you guys want to go check out what that is, go ahead. I'm not going to do it, but regardless, so, that stuff was pretty funny. But also, this isn't a skit. This isn't a joke. This guy was just in my lobby. I'm not making this up. So, without further ado, let's get right into it, and I hope you guys enjoy this nonsense.
Put in jail. Now, they're not put in prison, they're put in jail. Because there is a difference between jail and prison, right? Jail is your local lockup, your county jail or what have you. Prison is somewhere that people go long term. Jail is somewhere that you go short term. Does everybody understand the difference? So basically, hell, as we know it, in the heart of the earth, in the center or core of the earth, is like jail in a sense. And then lake of fire is like prison. Okay, does everybody understand? Because it's the longer term holding tank. So basically, the moment that a person, well, let's go back to the illustration of someone who gets arrested. So somebody gets arrested and they're in jail, right? And then they go to their trial while they're in jail, and they're tried, and let's say they're convicted. Then they're sent back to jail, and they say, okay, we're going to have sentencing in a couple of weeks. They don't always do the sentencing right then and there. A lot of times there's a delay. So they'll say, okay, we're going to come back in 2 weeks for the sentencing, but you're still in jail in the meantime. You've already been condemned. Then they get out the sentencing hearing where they take testimony and take things into account, and then they roll out punishment. Now you say, well, isn't everybody's punishment exactly the same? I don't believe so. Because Jesus talks about some people receiving a greater damnation. He talks about some people going to the lowest hell. And I do believe that there is a difference in how people will be punished. The Bible uses a parable about this, and he talks about how basically the children of Israel would be punished more severely than the Gentile nations if they don't believe on Jesus Christ, because of the fact that they had the privilege and the advantage of hearing the Word of God their whole lives in the synagogues and being exposed more to the one true God than other nations. And he used an illustration about disobedient servants. And he said the servant that did not know his Lord's will and disobeyed is going to be beaten with few stripes, because he didn't really know. He still did wrong. He should have known, so he still gets a beating. But it says, he that knew his Lord's will and did it not shall be beaten with many stripes. So there's going to be a judgment to determine the level of punishment that people are going to experience in the lake of fire for all eternity. Whether they, first of all, had heard the gospel, and the more that they have known and heard the gospel or had access to the gospel, they're going to get a more severe punishment, or the more sins that they've committed in their life, they're going to get a worse punishment. But here's the thing, don't get this idea of, well, it's not going to be that bad for some people. But it's hell. It's a lake of fire. Either way, it's torment, it's fire, it's burning. And Jesus talked about different rewards in heaven. That's not all equal either. You get to heaven, some people are going to get many crowns and great rewards. Other people will be saved by the skin of their teeth, as it were, and have no reward. I'm not kidding. Seriously. The Bible says, when Daniel confronted the king of Babylon, he said, God, in whose hand thy breath is. I mean, God's got his breath in your hand. He decides whether you take the next breath. And he decides when you once and for all give up the ghost. And the person who's not saved, it can end for them at any time. And you know what? Even people who are alive on this earth, some of them are just dead men walking. Yeah. Because they've already crossed that line with God where their heart has been hardened and their eyes have been darkened and their ears have been closed and they are reprobate and they're just like a dead man walking. Mm-hmm. You know, you never know when your last chance is. You never know when other people's last chance is. Boy, thank God we don't have to fear hell, but we ought to fear for other people. Right. So if you're not saved today, you better just drop it. As soon as this service is over, you better just grab the guy who looks like a soul winner near you or come and say, hey, I need to get saved. Yeah. Amen. Who here knows how to win somebody to Christ? Put up your hand. All right, so grab one of these people that has their hand up and say, hey, I need to get saved right now. I don't know for sure I'm going to heaven. I need to get saved right now. Yeah. You ought to be scared to death. Amen. And you know what? If you're already saved, which is the vast majority of people in this building today, if you're already saved, let this sermon motivate you to have compassion on the lost and say, you know what? I'm not just going to live life gratifying self and indulging self. I want to get out there and pull somebody out of the fire. Amen. Let's bow our heads and have a word of prayer. Father, we thank you so much, Lord, for delivering our soul from the pit of destruction, from saving us from the bottomless pit, Lord. Help us not to just take that for granted, and help us not to just live our lives with no regard for the fact that people are really going there, Lord. Help us to do our best to serve you, to love you, and to work for you, Lord, and to raise our children in the nurture and admonition of you, and also, Lord, to teach them to win souls, and also to teach them the gospel and make sure that they're saved. And Lord, we pray that our church would reach as many people as possible, and that other churches would look at our church and be inspired, hopefully, and motivated to get out there and deliver some souls, Lord. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Anger, it says in Deuteronomy 32:22, for a fire is kindled in my anger, and shall burn unto the lowest hell, and shall consume the earth with her increase, and set on fire the foundations of the mountains. So let me ask you, what is the source of the fire and the heat in hell? Who's the creator of hell? God is the creator of hell. And it's God's anger, it's God's wrath that kindles the fires of hell. And notice it says that his wrath burns unto the lowest hell. Basically, starting just 1 to 10 miles below the surface of the earth, it burns all the way down to the lowest hell, according to Deuteronomy 32:25.
And we stop their eyes, that my friends, because the lies in the hand of even one called the Roman 3:19, it shall pass, it's really before God, because the 1 John 2:17, it will pass away. This world lies in the hand of evil. You're born into the world in the hand of the evil one. It makes it good to the Lord God. And as a place that you live upon the death, you're lost tonight. You're in the local hell tonight. And you're judged.
What are you listening to, Martin Luther King Jr.?
It's an everlasting punishment.
It's a prison. We learn that it's someplace deep, right? We learn it's a place where the wicked go. We learn it's a place where the saved will never go. Now, let me ask you, what more do we learn about hell than what we've already learned in Luke chapter 16? I mean, pretty much what Abraham said, they have Moses and the prophets. They have all these scriptures that we just read. People should have known about hell. We can get all the doctrine we need from hell in the Old Testament, just like he said there. But now let's look at some New Testament, all right?